The whistle blew sharp as a knife through the humid August air, and that's when Jake collapsed. Right there on the 50-yard line, his body crumpling like a discarded jersey, foam flecking his lips as the entire team froze in stunned silence. I dropped my helmet and sprinted across the turf, heart slamming against my ribs, shoving aside Coach Harlan, who was barking orders like it was just another drill gone wrong. "Jake! Jesus, Jake, talk to me?" I gasped, cradling his head in the grass, his eyes fluttering open to meet mine with a terror I'd never seen. Not in the boy who'd become my stepbrother just 6 months ago, the one who'd promised we'd conquer this godforsaken town together. We weren't blood, Jake and I, but in the sticky sprawl of Elmwood, Ohio, where cornfields stretched like yellow oceans under endless blue skies and Friday nights meant bonfires and the roar of the high school stadium. That didn't matter much at first. Our parents had tied the knot in a shotgun courthouse wedding the winter before, Mom's weary smile masking the fresh divorce scars from Dad's endless trucking routes, and his old man, Tom, fresh off a bitter split from Jake's mom, who'd bolted for the West Coast lights. Jake was 17, a transfer from some ritzy Cincinnati prep school, all lean muscle and easy grins, with hair the color of sun-bleached wheat that fell just right over his forehead. I was 16, Alex Rivera, the scrawny kid who'd spent summers mowing lawns to afford cleats that didn't pinch, dreaming of the day I'd earn my spot on the Elmwood Eagles. When Tom moved us into that creaky two-story on Maple Street, with its wraparound porch smelling of fresh paint and regret, Jake didn't unpack his boxes for weeks. He just sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the wall like it held answers to questions neither of us dared ask. School started in a blur of locker slams and the acrid tang of teenage sweat. Elmwood High was a brick behemoth on the edge of town, where the hallways echoed with the ghosts of gridiron glory, trophies gleaming in glass cases, faded banners whispering of state championships long faded into myth. I tried to keep my distance at first. Jake was the golden boy, after all, tall, with shoulders that already filled out a Letterman jacket, and a laugh that turned heads in the cafeteria. Girls like Sarah Klein batted lashes at him during lunch, and guys on the team clapped his back like he'd been one of them since kindergarten. Me? I was the tag-along, the stepbrother nobody quite placed, blending into the linoleum like the faded murals of corn huskers on the walls. But football practice changed that. Coach Harlan, a grizzled ex-Marine with a buzz cut gone silver and a voice like gravel under tires, had eyed us both during tryouts. "Rivera, you got heart but no meat on those bones." Harlan's boy, "Wait. No, Thompson now. Show me you ain't soft like your mama's side." He meant Tom's ex, but the jab landed anyway. We made the JV squad, Jake at quarterback, me at wide receiver, and those afternoon sessions under the relentless Ohio sun became our unspoken pact. We'd jog the bleachers at dawn, the dew slick under our sneakers, trading stories about the lives we'd left behind. Jake confessed how his real mom had split without a goodbye, leaving him with Tom's endless lectures on manhood and a fridge stocked with light beer. I told him about Dad's absences, the way Mom cried into her coffee when the alimony checks bounced. "Family's a crapshoot," he'd say, punching my shoulder lightly, his touch lingering a beat too long, sending a spark I chalked up to the chill morning air. By September, we were inseparable on the field. The stadium lights buzzed like fireflies on steroids, casting long shadows over the turf scarred from seasons past. Practices were brutal. Suicides until our lungs burned, tackling drills where bodies thudded like thunderclaps, and coach's whistle slicing through it all. Jake thrived in the chaos, his throws spiraling true as an arrow, voice barking plays with a confidence that made the seniors nod approval. I'd streak downfield, legs pumping, snagging passes that felt like lifelines. After, we'd collapse on the sidelines, Gatorade bottles sweating in our grips, the distant hum of crickets mixing with our ragged breaths. That's when the secret started slipping out. Not in floods, but in drips, like rain off the eaves after a storm. It was a Tuesday, the air thick with the promise of fall, when he first cracked open. We'd just run gassers, my quads screaming, and I flopped beside him on the dew-kissed grass, staring up at the stars punching through the twilight. "You ever feel like you're playing a role?" he muttered, voice low, almost lost in the wind rustling the goalpost flags. I turned my head, grass tickling my ear. His profile was sharp against the sky, jaw set like he was chewing on words too big to spit out. "Like what you see?" I joked, but he didn't laugh. Instead, he rolled onto his side, propping on an elbow, eyes locking mine with an intensity that pinned me. "Nah, man. Like, this town's got you in a script. Straight A jock, date the cheerleader, pop the question by 25. But what if that's not your line?" I swallowed, the words hanging heavy. Elmwood wasn't kind to deviations. Last year, Tommy Greer got jumped behind the bleachers for holding hands with that exchange kid from France. Whispers of "fairy" followed him until he transferred out. I'd heard the slurs in locker rooms, seen the way guys like Brody Klein flexed their knuckles like weapons. But Jake? He was the sun around which they orbited. "You saying you're?" I trailed off, heart thudding not from the sprints. He shrugged, a ghost of a smile flickering. "I don't know what I'm saying, Alex. Just tired of pretending." That night, as we biked home under street lamps flickering like hesitant confessions, something shifted. The space between our handlebars felt charged, the kind of electric hum you feel before lightning cracks. October brought homecoming, the air crisp with bonfire smoke and the sweet rot of fallen leaves. The pep rally was a frenzy. Cheerleaders in pleated skirts flipping under banners painted with eagle claws, the band blasting Sweet Caroline off-key. Jake and I stood shoulder to shoulder in the team's huddle, his arms slung casual around my neck, the heat of him seeping through my jersey. Coach's pep talk droned on about grit and glory, but my mind snagged on the way Jake's fingers brushed my collarbone, accidental or not. After, as floats rumbled down Main Street, papier-mâché cornstalks and glittered footballs, we ditched the parade for the riverbank, skipping stones into the lazy Ohio current. The water gurgled secrets of its own, reflecting the bonfires dotting the hills like fallen stars. "Sarah asked me to the dance," he said, skipping a flat rock that danced 5 times before sinking. I nodded, throat tight, watching ripples spread. Sarah was perfect. Blonde waves, editor of the yearbook, the girl every guy dreamed of claiming. "You gonna go?" He skipped another, harder, the plunk echoing. "Maybe. Dad's on me about fitting in. Says it'll look good for college scouts." Tom's expectations loomed like the grain silos on the outskirts, unyielding, casting long shadows. I chucked my stone wild, splashing us both. "What about what you want?" He turned then, water dripping from his lashes, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to the space between us. "You really want to know?" His voice was rough, like he'd swallowed gravel. I nodded, pulse roaring. He stepped closer, close enough I could smell the river on him, mixed with that faint soap from his morning shower. "It's not Sarah. Hasn't been for a while." The admission hung there, fragile as a leaf on the breeze, and when his hand found mine, fingers lacing tentative, calluses rough from spirals and tackles, I didn't pull away. The bonfires crackled distant applause. We didn't kiss that night. Not yet. But as we pedaled back, the town lights blurring into streaks, I felt the pull, like gravity shifting, Elmwood's flat earth tilting toward him. Practices intensified, the season ramping toward playoffs, but those sidelined moments became our sanctuary. He'd murmur about dreams of escaping to an arbor, studying architecture, building something that lasted. I'd confess my sketches, hidden in notebooks under my bed, charcoal lines of stadiums reborn as cathedrals, faces blurred but eyes sharp like his. "You're good, Alex. Real good," he'd say, thumbing a page, his knee bumping mine under the kitchen table while our parents argued over bills in the next room. Mom worked doubles at the diner, her uniform smelling of grease and pie crust. Tom coached Little League on weekends, barking orders that echoed his own unfulfilled gridiron youth. They loved us, in their frayed way, but love in Elmwood was a patchwork quilt, warm, but full of holes. November's chill bit deep, frosting the end zones white. We were undefeated, the town buzzing with talk of state. But whispers followed us too. Brody Klein, that meathead tight end with a neck like a fireplug, caught us lingering after practice one evening. Jake's hand on my shoulder a beat too long. "You two lovebirds done braidin' hair?" He'd sneered the next day in the locker room, towels snapping like accusations. Laughter rippled, ugly and sharp, and I felt heat crawl up my neck, fists clenching around my strap. Jake just grinned, all teeth and deflection. "Jealous, Brody?" My throws got more arc than your girlfriend's complaints. The room erupted, tension diffused, but later, toweling off, he leaned close under the spray of showers, steam curling like smoke signals. "Ignore him. They're just scared of what they don't get." I wanted to believe him, but fear gnawed like frostbite. That weekend, Tom dragged us to the annual Harvest Festival in the town square. Hay bales stacked high, funnel cakes frying golden, kids shrieking on hayrides pulled by swayback tractors. Jake and I manned the dunk tank, shirts plastered to our chests from the cold splashes, laughing until our sides ached. But midway, Sarah sauntered over, her smile bright as the string lights looping the tents. "Jake, about the dance." She trailed a finger down his arm, and he stiffened, glancing at me like a man drowning. "Yeah, sure. Sounds fun." The words landed like a fumble, and I excused myself, weaving through the crowd to the edge of the square where the corn maze loomed, stalks whispering conspiracies. He found me there minutes later, breath fogging the air. "Alex, wait. It's not what you think." I whirled, leaves crunching underfoot. "Then what is it? 'Cause from here it looks like you're playing it safe." Again. His face crumpled, shadows playing tricks in the half-light. "Dad's been on me. College, scouts, they want the all-American package. If they knew." He gestured vaguely, the weight of unspoken slurs heavy. I stepped closer, the maze walls closing in. "Knew what? That you're human? That you feel things?" My voice cracked, raw as the wind. He reached out, cupping my jaw, thumb tracing the line of my cheekbone. "That I feel this. For you." The kiss came then, tentative, tasting of cotton candy and salt, his lips soft against the world's hardness. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, the distant fiddle music a mocking waltz. "We're in this," I whispered. "Together." He nodded, fierce, and for a moment, Elmwood's mazes parted. But secrets are slippery as wet turf. December loomed, snow dusting the practice fields like powdered sugar on a stale donut. We'd stolen moments. A hand squeeze in the truck cab on the way to school. Notes folded into cleats with doodles of intertwined initials. Practices were our cover. The team's rhythm a camouflage for stolen glances. Jake's throws found me unerringly. Our sync a dance only we knew the steps to. Coach noticed, slapping our backs after a scrimmage that left us breathless. "You boys got chemistry. Keep it up," and varsity's calling. Pride swelled, but so did the risks. Brody's jabs sharpened. Thompson's got a new wideout crush. And once, in the weight room, he cornered me by the benches, barbell clanging like a warning. "What's your deal, Rivera? Step in on family turf." I shoved past, but the seed of doubt sprouted. The betrayal came swift as a blindside hit. It was 2 weeks before Christmas break, the air brittle with freeze, our breath clouds in the locker room as we suited up for indoor drills in the old gym. Jake was late, which wasn't like him, always the first to arrive, helmet tucked under arm like a talisman. When he burst in, face flushed, Sarah trailing like a comet's tail, my stomach dropped. "Hey, team," he called, voice too bright. "Sarah's cheering us on today." She waved, pom-poms rustling, and the guys hooped, but I saw the flicker in his eyes. Panic or plea? Practice dragged. My routes sloppy, passes glancing off gloves. After, as we stripped down, he caught my elbow in the hall. "Alex, it's nothing. Dad set it up, photo op for the paper." "Photo op," I hissed, the fluorescent buzz mocking us. "Or cover." Hurt flashed raw and he recoiled like I'd swung. "You think I'd?" But voices echoed down the corridor. Brody's laugh, Coach's bark, and he pulled away, leaving me hollow. That night, snow falling thick as regrets outside my window, I heard them. Tom's voice booming from the living room, Mom's murmur soft. Jake's door clicked shut across the hall, and I pressed my ear to the wood, catching fragments. Gotta think of your future, son. That Rivera boy's a distraction. Silence, then Jake's voice, muffled but steel-edged. He's family, Dad. More than you know. A slam followed, and I slid down the wall, knees to chest, the house groaning under winter's weight. The next morning, frost etched the truck's windshield like accusations, and Jake avoided my eyes on the drive, radio static filling the void. School was a gauntlet. Sarah linking arms with him in the halls, her giggle a knife twist. By lunch, rumors swirled. Thompson's locked down the prom queen early, and I skipped the cafeteria, holing up in the art room with my sketchpad, charcoal smudging Jake's profile into blurred lines. He found me there after fifth period, door creaking like a confession. We need to talk. His voice was wrecked, shadows under his eyes like bruises. I set the pencil down, deliberate. Do we? Or is this you choosing the script? He crossed the room in 3 strides, hands framing my face, desperate. It's not. God, Alex, it's killing me. The kiss was fire, urgent, all teeth and need, my fingers tangling in his hair as the world outside faded to white noise. We broke apart at the bell, panting, promises in the air. We'll figure it out, he vowed. After the holidays. Away from here. I believed him, clinging to that thread as December deepened, practices a blur of feigned normalcy. But Brody watched, always watching, his smirk a gathering storm. Christmas Eve brought forced cheer. Tom's turkey dry as his jokes, Mom's eggnog spiked with hope. We exchanged gifts under the tree's twinkling lights. Practical stuff, gloves for Jake, a new playbook for me. But his eyes said more, lingering when parents turned away. Later, in the attic amid dusty boxes of forgotten holidays, we curled on an old quilt, the house settling around us like a sigh. I love you, he whispered. The words new and terrifying, my heart echoing them back. Snow tapped the skylight, a soft applause, and for one night, Elmwood felt like ours. But betrayal has teeth. New Year's loomed, the team hosting a bonding party at Brody's farm. Hayloft strung with lights, kegs hidden in the barn. The air thick with bonfire smoke and bass thumping from truck speakers. Jake begged off at first, citing Tom's flu, but I went, needing the noise to drown my doubts. The loft was a crush. Bodies grinding to country remixes. Sarah perched on a bale like a queen, her eyes scanning for her prince. When Jake arrived late, slipping in with a nod to Coach, relief flooded me, until he beelined for her, their laughter cutting through the din like shrapnel. I nursed a soda by the railing, the fields below a black sea, when Brody sidled up, breath sour. Trouble in paradise, Rivera? Your boy's playin' both fields. I shrugged him off, but he leaned in, voice oily. Saw you two in the maze. Cozy. Think Thompson wants that splashed across the team chat. I slithered down my spine. You don't know shit. But he did phone out a blurry photo from festival night, our silhouettes damning. Delete it, I growled, lunging. But he danced back, grinning wolfish. Or what? Tell me, fairy, worth the risk. The word landed like a gut punch, and I stumbled out, cold air slapping sense into me, retching into the snow. Jake found me by the bonfire's embers, face ashen. Alex, what happened? I shoved the phone at him, the image glowing accusatory. His jaw tightened, firelight carving hollows in his cheeks. Brody cornered me earlier, said he'd trash my recruitment unless I played along with Sarah. Publicly, the pieces shattered, every deflection, every glance away. So you did. For scouts, for Dad, for everything but us. Hurt cracked my voice, and he grabbed my arms, shaking. No, to protect us, if it gets out now before playoffs. I wrenched free, the betrayal a chasm. Or maybe you're just scared, like always. He recoiled, eyes glistening. Maybe I am, but I love you, damn it. That changes nothing. Everything? I whispered, turning into the night, snow muffling my sobs. The party raged on, oblivious, but our world fractured. January's playoffs dawned bitter. The stadium a frozen coliseum under floodlights harsh as interrogations. We hadn't spoken off-field since the party. Texts unanswered, breakfast silent. But on the turf, we moved like ghosts in sync, passes threading needles through defenses. Coach roared approval. The crowd a sea of painted faces chanting Eagles soar. Elmwood versus Riverton, rivals from the next county over, their linebackers hulking shadows in the mist. Halftime tied, locker room thick with steam and strategy. Jake's eyes sought mine across the huddle. Plea, apology, fire. "Rivera, you're my out," he said during the break, voice low under the roar. "Always have been." I nodded, throat tight, strapping on my helmet like armor. The second half was war. Tackles crunching bone, my lungs fire as I burned routes, Jake's voice cutting through the fray. "Left 60. Hot." A screen pass found me in the flat, Riverton's corner breathing down my neck, but I spun, juked, turf flying. Touchdown. The bench erupted, high fives stinging. But Brody's glare burned hotter, his whispers to teammates a poison drip. Final drive, down by 3, 2 minutes left. Jake dropped back, pressure collapsing like a wave. I streaked seam, the ball arcing perfect, until Brody, offsides but unchecked, blindsided him. Jake hit the ground hard, helmet skidding, body still. Deja vu slammed me. The August collapse, foam and fear. But this was malice, not mystery. I was there first, tearing off his face mask, his eyes dazed but locking mine. "Alex!" A groan, then sirens wailed distant. The ref called interference, but the game blurred. Riverton scored on the turnover. Victory theirs by a field goal. Medics carted him off, crowd thinning to murmurs, and I followed in Tom's truck, snow-slick roads mirroring my skid. Our lights buzzed sterile, doctors murmuring concussion, bruised ribs. Jake woke groggy, tubes snaking his arm, and gripped my hand fierce. "Brody," he knew, said he'd end me if I didn't back off you. Rage boiled, but Jake pulled me closer, voice a rasp. "Doesn't matter. I choose you. Every time." Tom burst in then, face thunder. "What the hell happened out there?" Jake's grip tightened, and in that fluorescent limbo he spilled it. Not the hit, but us. The secrets, the love, the fear. Tom's face cycled shock to stone, then cracked. Tears, rare as rain in drought. "Son, why didn't you say?" Mom arrived, wrapping me in her coat, her hug a lifeline. "Because we thought you'd hate us," I choked. She shook her head, fierce. "Never. Family's what we build, not what's given." Brody's reckoning came swift. Coach suspended him pending investigation. The photo leaked anonymously to the principal. His own noose. Elmwood rallied, not with pitchforks, but quiet support. Sarah's apology note in my locker, teammates' awkward nods turning to invitations. Spring thawed the fields, Jake healing slow but sure. Our practices now laced with easy touches, no hiding. We walked Main Street hand in hand by April, whispers fading to shrugs, the town's quilt mending stitch by stitch. Graduation summer, Jake bound for Michigan on a partial ride, architecture, like he'd dreamed. I sketched our future. A loft in an arbor, windows framing lakes, no scripts but ours. The night before he left, porch swing creaking under stars, he traced my palm. "You changed everything, Alex. Made me brave." I leaned in, kissed soft as promise. We did it together. Elmwood shrank in the rearview as we drove north, cornfields waving goodbye. Not tragic, not flawless, just human, laced with grace. And in the quiet miles, with his hand in mine, I knew. Love isn't a role. It's the rewrite.